What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a psychological thriller starring Barbara Gordon. Now, if you've been keeping up with this, she's in absolute hell, purposely locked up inside the Supermax facility with no help from the Bat family and completely exposed. Let's break down exactly what happens in this intense story. We open up in the infirmary, and things look incredibly grim. Barbara is lying on a hospital bed, absolutely wrecked. Her head heavily bandaged, and she got a black eye, and mentally, she is completely disoriented. In her head, everything is upside down. A hand reaches into the frame, gently touching her bruised cheek as they ask, "Barbara, can you hear me?" As she opens her eyes, the pain hits her instantly. She winces, clenching her teeth, wondering the exact same thing we are. How did this happen? Suddenly, Barbara's mind flashes back to the attack. She remembers being completely alone in her dark prison, and out of nowhere, someone came to her. The Joker, completely with a purple suit and fedora, holding a lit bundle of dynamite. The fuse burns down at lightning speed. Barbara looks back in absolute horror just as the blast hits, throwing her backwards. Despite her terror, the explosion looked like a glorified party popper as we see paper streamers floating through the air. Back in the real world, Barbara bolts upright in the hospital bed, screaming in pure terror. A medical staff yells out, "Doctor, 6822281 is awake." Barbara, completely disoriented with only one thought echoing in her mind. Alive? I'm actually alive? Less than 24 hours in max, and someone tries to kill me? She processes the pain. A guard standing by her bedside crosses his arms and says, "I guess you're made out of steel, huh?" But things are far from fine. The medical chart pops up on screen, showing x-rays of her injuries. Guys, she's broken. We're talking about serious skull fracture, 2 broken ribs, fractured wrists, severe lacerations, and a bruised vocal cords. The guard asks if she saw who did it. She tells him no. Now, this triggers Barbara start running through the suspects, because in a place like this, the line of people who want Jim Gordon's daughter dead is around the block. Is it because she was arrested for helping Batman? Is it because prison gang leader Di? Heck, she actually punched one of Di's crew's members right in the face earlier. Or maybe it's Vandal Savage's men. They have just as much reason to want her dead. But Barbara remembers one crucial detail. Right before the explosion, she heard a sound, something mechanical, subtle. She notes that it was a standard prison hit by Di. She would have been clobbered with a crowbar. This was calculated. As Barbara groans in agony, a female staff member tells Barbara that she has a severe concussion and 11 stitches, warning her that she's going to be hurting for a long time. The woman introduces herself as Sparrow, telling Barbara to call her if she needs anything. But as she hands Barbara a plastic cup of water, Sparrow whispers something chilling. "You're not safe here, Gordon. I'm getting you out." Barbara realizes she has no choice but to trust her. Sparrow acts fast, pulling back the hospital blankets, telling her you have to be quick and quiet. She helps a weak, stumbling Barbara down a long, checkerboard prison hallway. But suddenly, we see the hallway start blending into a psychedelic vortex of pink and blue colors. Barbara's vision goes wild. Sparrow transforms into Batman carrying her. Barbara starts slurring her words, realizing she's been drugged. She asks Sparrow, "What did you give me?" But Sparrow just tells her, "Shut up." Right before Barbara collapses on the floor, she hears a faint mechanical sound echoing in her mind again. Click, click, click. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, we see Officer Jim Gordon. Another cop over comm says, "You can wrap it up. Your shift's over." Jim looks over and says, "Maybe the shift's not over after all," as he spots a figure in a green hoodie sprinting away as he gives chase, yelling, "Stop! GCPD!" Jim pursues the suspect through an alleyway. He's huffing and puffing, clearly feeling his age, but he corners them in a courtyard near a water tower. Suddenly, a second criminal wearing a purple mask ambushes Jim from behind, zapping him with a high-voltage stun gun. But it's a trap. Jim screams in pain, but he is Gordon. He doesn't go down easy. He takes a swing with his nightstick, landing a massive hit across the attacker's face. The criminal punches Jim square in the jaw, knocking him to the ground. Standing over him with a stun prod, the criminal warns, "You'd better learn to mind your business, officer." But just as things look bad for Jim, Nightwing drops it down into the alley, kicking the masked criminal right across his face. Nightwing stands there checking on Jim and jokingly tells him, maybe lay off the sprints? Mind you, you did have some serious speed going there for a minute. He handcuffs the criminal, asks Jim if he's heard from Barbara. Jim, he sighs, explains that Barbara had made it abundantly clear she does not want to be rescued. She feels responsible for the people dying inside that prison and won't leave until she finds out who's behind it. Jim also points out that Barbara is going to need some serious help in there because even if the inmates don't know who she is, they know who her father is. Jim looks out over the city skyline, a grim smile on his face as he drops a bombshell. He says, I sent help. That's what I wanted to tell you. Nightwing looks concerned and says, you what? We cut back to Barbara's prison cell. She's sitting on the edge of her cot, and standing in front of her is Sparrow. Sparrow rebandaged Barbara's arm, pours 2 medicine capsules into her hand as Barbara's inner monologue is racing. She's trying to connect the dots. If the guards attack me, then this is all Vandal Savage's trap. But then Sparrow looks directly at her and says, I know why you're here, Barbara. I can help. Barbara drifts off to sleep, her mind consumed by questions. Why is she still alive? Why would someone try to kill her just to let her live? As she sleeps, she plunges into a terrifying dark hallucination. She sees a literal Grim Reaper figure inside the prison corridor, reaching out for her with his skeletal hands. Next morning, the loudspeaker blares, Prisoners, rise for morning meal! Barbara wakes up in absolute agony. Sparrow hands her a pill for the pain, but Barbara tells her, I don't have time for the pain because whoever did this to her isn't finished. Suddenly, a guard doing roll call starts yelling, Prisoner 554423, out of your cell! The guard steps into the cell only to stop dead in his tracks. On the floor is a blood-covered arm lying completely limp, another murder. We cut to later, during the yard time, the inmates are in panic. Barbara and Sparrow walk side by side as the other prisoners whisper about the body. They're realizing they're being picked off one by one. Barbara asks Sparrow, who do you think is doing this, the guards? Sparrow tells her, keep your voice down because the truth is, no one knows. That night, Barbara is lying flat on her back in the dark as we hear that sound again. Tick, tick, tick. She senses someone near her and yells, who's there? Standing right outside her prison bars is a shadowy figure in purple suit and a wide-brimmed fedora, the Joker again, as he says, knock, knock. Then a terrifying extreme close-up reveals a monstrous grinning Joker wedged tightly between the bars, his smile stretching across his face. He looks right at her and whispers, time for your pills, Barbara. Barbara snaps back to reality. It was another hallucination. Sparrow is now leaning over her cot, handing her another pill and telling her she needs to rest. Barbara swallows it, drifts back to sleep, muttering something about the Vandal Savage and the guards. But as Barbara completely passes out, we see and focus on Sparrow. She stands completely still, waiting for the cell doors to open as she looks down at her and whispers, stay asleep, dear Barbara. As Sparrow walks down the corridor, her fingers brush against the bars, creating the rhythmic tick, tick, tick that has been haunting Barbara. We hear a voice whisper, hey there, nurse. As the blonde inmate named Di is standing behind her cell bars, she saps, so? Sparrow replies, so it's going fine, Di, relax. Di narrows her eyes and says, she didn't die. As Sparrow responds, no, and I've been keeping her breathing, but dope. She walks away as she says, I know what I'm doing. We cut to one final terrifying image of the Grim Reaper entering the cell and looming over an unconscious Barbara Gordon. And this is where this chapter ends, guys. Barbara is completely trapped. She thinks she's being protected, but she's been actively being drugged and kept compliant by the person her father sent to save her? Maybe? Who knows? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Smash the like button, and I'll see you next time.